Known that I was a news reporter for much of my career. Ended my working career as a writer for a military base. So I sort of came along in sort of a second or third wave of women reporters and women writers. Prior to when I started as a reporter in the 1970s, not only did I come along as a second wave of women, I also came along as probably a second wave of African American news reporters. So before that, mostly were men, and those African Americans who were reporters were usually men. So I guess being a woman, I came along at sort of a perfect time. Part of the reason I wanted to be a news reporter was really my cousin. I was about 17 or 18 years old. She and I had always communicated via mail. She lived in Pennsylvania. I discovered as she and I wrote back and forth that she wanted to be a news reporter. And about that same time, I started to write and started to kind of venture out in some areas of writing. And I always wanted to do everything she did. She was just like my hero. So she started working as a news reporter at a newspaper in Washington, D.C. And I decided, well, I think I'm gonna follow in her footsteps. What I would do to encourage women to actually start as, let's say, writing, okay? Because the writing now morphed for me into being a historian. I would tell them, go for it. Be willing to, and this was what was told me, try to get around people, the career that you want, try to be around those people who already have that career. Start reading up on it, start going out to the places where some of those people may be, but most importantly, see yourself as a writer, see yourself as whatever you think you can be. And that sometimes could be just simple role playing. I sometimes would look at shows where I saw a news reporter. I remember Brenda Starr. Brenda Starr was a cartoon news reporter. And I even found back in those days, in the late 1960s, early 1970s, I would read her comic strip and just watch how her life was being made as a news reporter. I was listening to Nina Turner, who was Bernie Sanders' surrogate, and I was listening to her talking about politics and just so many things that went on during the last campaign. One of the things that she talked about, though, she talked about women running for office, women getting out there, not letting other people tell their story in terms of where they should be politically. They need to start telling their own stories and start, representing themselves. So that may be an area to me, is more political, people on the scene, young women, older women, actually getting out representing themselves. I also see social media as a big factor. It's that thing that allows us to tell our own stories. In honor of Women's National History Month, I plan this month to do everything I can to help uncover stories of all these unsung sheroes here who helped our community. So I'll continue to do that for the rest of not only this month, I hope to do it for, let's say, the rest of my life. So that's what I want to do.